Unfortunately, you can't. But the four-year colleges have other types of financial aid, but it definitely covers everything you do at any of the 15 community colleges, clearly here in Massasoit. It definitely is one of the programs that we're very happy about, and we've seen so many people come back to school because of this program, and the phone calls have been just incredible about folks just saying, I'm so glad you've done this because I've always wanted to finish and I haven't been able. I've gotten that call so many times, and I'm so glad people are coming in. So what programs does it cover? Okay, number one, I'm just going to jump over here, the associate degree. Any associate degree program we do, it's going to cover. Doesn't matter what it is. Whether it's nursing, liberal arts, whether it's criminal justice, or culinary, it qualifies. So you don't have to worry about any associate degree program. Awesome. What about certificates? There is a little bit of a change. It doesn't cover all our certificates. It only covers certain ones. Okay, and I won't go into it, but people ask me, well, why not? Why doesn't it cover all of it? I think it has to do with federal guidelines in terms of financial aid, that it has to have 24 credits. A lot of our credit certificate programs are less than 24. And that's the federal government, and FAFSA is exactly the same way. If there's a certificate with only 12 credits, that doesn't cover it either. So our certificate programs that are 12 credits, 24 credits long, or at least 1 year, they qualify, and those are the programs that are eligible for Mass Reconnect as well, and also for FAFSA and federal aid. Okay, big question I get. So how much of a sticklers are they about the 25? Well, they are. So the thing you need to know is that you have to be 25 by the start of the first day of school. So that was one of the questions I got as well. Well, I'm turning 25 in October. Well, I said, well, if you want to start with, you can, but you won't be eligible for Mass Reconnect until the spring semester. So that's the only thing. So by the 25th, I think, of January, you have to be 25. And if you are, no problem. Okay. Number two, you have to physically reside in Massachusetts. Or in other words, I like to use that because it's more than just being a resident of Massachusetts. Sometimes people get confused. So you have to have lived in Massachusetts for the last 365 days. If you have, check the next box. So then you're eligible. Number three, you have to be a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident. Again, you're going to be filing the FAFSA form first. It's one of the requirements. And if you're not eligible for that, then you're not going to be eligible for the Mass Reconnect. So again, you have to be a U.S. citizen. People ask me, what about the non-citizen eligible? There are categories. There are a couple. I'm not going to go over the entire list. But if you are someone who's not a U.S. citizen or permanent resident, but is interested, the categories that come up are, for example, you have already been granted refugee status or political asylum status. Those are the ones. If you have a temporary status, like for example, what if I have a student visa, not qualified? What if I'm here on a work visa? Unfortunately not applied. So it's got to be something where you are going to be permanently here in the United States. Again, I'm going to be manning a table over there, so if you have that question, I can go one-on-one with you. But those are the main citizen requirements that you have to have. Number four, as you've heard me say about 100 times already, you got to file the FAFSA. The FAFSA has to be filed. And again, do not worry about filing it, because people have said, well, I know I'm not going to get anything. You have to file it. Once you file it, that opens the door for Mass Reconnect and our financial aid office to look at what you've gotten and then determine how much Mass Reconnect is going to fund, whether it's 100%, 50%, 66%, whatever it is. But without the FAFSA, it's not going to go anywhere. So that's one of the requirements as well. Okay. So now, these are a couple of other requirements that come up. These may not apply. If you're new, then you don't have to worry about the last couple ones I'm going to talk to you about. But if you have actually been in attendance at Massasoit, and let's say, for example, you're in default because you took a loan out or something like that, you got to clear that out, got to fix that. But if you didn't take out a loan or anything like that, then this doesn't apply to you. Okay? Number six, very big one. Okay? This program is specifically targeted, as I mentioned before, is to get folks to get their degree completed. So you can't have an associate degree or a bachelor's degree already. That's another of the big questions I get. Can I just do it? Oh, unfortunately not. So if you have already earned, and I'm talking you have the diploma, you've completed all the requirements for an associate degree or a bachelor's degree, then unfortunately not qualified. But if you haven't, then you're 100% qualified. Okay? Someone told me, well, what if I was one course short? Well, you're going to get that one course for free because it'll cover it. Okay, but that's a very big part. Okay, so now we've gone over that. You know you're qualified. How do I keep qualified? Okay, so as a minimum status, you can go full-time and part-time, but minimally, if you're going to be a part-time student, you have to have 6 credits to qualify. That's the same rule for federal financial aid as well. So 6 credits is the minimum, okay, but you can go all the way full-time. And you also have to meet satisfactory academic progress. I love when people call it SAP, it's just a little easier. What that means, if you're not familiar with financial aid lingua, is that you have to be making progress and you need to be passing your courses. So it's not something that is just in perpetuity, where like I can attend, someone asked me, does that mean I can go to school forever? We'd like that, but you can't. So in other words, you have to be completing the courses in your major until you finish it, and there has to be some sort of progress, because if you're not doing that, the federal government and also Massachusetts will then stop funding it. Okay. So we know that. People who then ask me is, what does it cover? What does it actually pay for? So when we look at this, it covers tuition, fees, books, and supplies that are required for your courses. So if someone asks me, well, what if I want to get a laptop? Well, you can buy a laptop, but unfortunately, it's not going to be covered by Mass Reconnect. But let's say, for example, you're a nursing student and you have to have a stethoscope as part of your program, then it will cover that. Okay. Now, the funding is a little limited because the actual stipends that come in are not, it's not unlimited, and I'll get to that in a second. But that is, anything that supplies that are required for your program, it would cover it, if you, again, in the amount of in the stipends that they give you. Okay, so people ask me, well, all right, well, it's not for perpetuity, how long do I have? So basically, if you're going full-time, you have 6 semesters that you can do it in, which will, with a minimum of 12 credits that you can go. So if you're going full-time, you've got about 3 years to finish it. If you're going part-time, you got pretty much 5 years. Big question comes up, well, what if something happened and I need a little more time? You can request an extension. Okay, so I'll give you one example. A lot of folks say to me, well, what if I do the nursing prerequisites for a year, and then I get in, and then now I feel that I'm going to be pressured? Well, that would be one of the reasons where they would give you an extension, because you had to take prerequisites first, and then now you're in a nursing program. So there's a legitimate reason why you have to ask for an extension. Something happened at home, you had to stop for a semester or 2. There are reasons, and again, well, you don't have to use them, but there are times where there's exceptions for extensions. Okay, and then for the certificates, again, this is all calculated in the way. If you're doing the certificate, though, the only difference is that summer semesters do not count for Mass Reconnect for certificate programs. And more often than not, those certificate courses generally run during the fall and spring anyway. So that would be the reason why it doesn't cover that area. And again, as you can see, it's a limit about a year and a half to be able to complete it. Full-time and part-time, I think it comes down to 6 semesters, it's not counted, so you have 6 semesters to finish it. But again, you have to meet the minimum of 6 credits per semester that you're actually enrolled. But it's pretty flexible if you really think about it. So you do have time, and there is wiggle room if you have a tight schedule with work, family responsibilities, so on and so forth. Okay, so now for the book allowance, the stipend. So right now, what has been calculated is if you're going for 12 or more credits, the stipend will cover up to $600 of your books and supplies. If you're going for 9 to 11, $450, and if you're going 6 to 8, $300. Okay. So that's the roundabout and the quick version. Now, I want to say this before I get to the questions, and I'm going to take a couple. If you have a specific, like, I think I want to talk to them a little bit, I'm going to be down. I have a table that's set up over there, so if you want to talk to me specifically because you think your case might be a little unique, you're welcome to come and talk to me at the table. I'm going to be taking questions. But I may take a couple of questions really quickly now before I end the session. So if anyone has any questions, okay, you were first. You should be on a game show. That was fast.
This is the thing. When do you apply for the passage? You have to be accepted into the school first, or what?
Very quick. I'm going to repeat your question, so the question was, what do I need to do first in order to get this going? Sounds great. The first thing I say is, there really isn't one before the other, but I would say, if you haven't applied to massasoit, and if you haven't applied for financial aid, those are really the 2 things you need to do immediately. Does it matter if I do one first before the other? I would do them both at the same time and get it going. The FAFSA is important because when you apply for federal financial aid, they may ask you for additional information. So your FAFSA may not be complete because I won't go into the weeds, but they might ask you for verification. They might ask you, we're going to need your tax, because they don't do it for everybody. So that's why you want to get it in, and then if they ask you for additional information, you want to get it. With us, I'd like to get the application in so that we can process it, accept you, and then bring you in through our processing. Some of you may have to do testing. Some of you may have to get your transcripts. And again, since some of you have not been in school, or at least if you didn't go to college, you might say, oh my God, got to contact my high school. I don't really remember me from 10, 15 years ago. Got to get that transcript into it. So again, I would say both are equally important to get it in. Those are really the two big things, and that'll get the ball rolling. Big thing, there is no separate application for Mass Reconnect. That's one of the number one questions I get. What do I have to fill out? You don't have to fill out anything, it's automatic. Honestly, if you think about it, let's just say you didn't know about Mass Reconnect, you applied to the college, you applied for financial aid, and then one day you're looking at it and you're like, what's this Mass Reconnect and why are they giving me $1,000? It's automatic, you don't have to do anything. You just have to make sure, for me the most important thing is making sure you meet all the qualifications. And if you do, then you just do the FAFSA and you make sure you apply to college. If you were a member of this institution before and you've been out for more than 3 years, then you just have to do a quick readmit application, just to update your information, and that's it. And then once that information is here, this is why we'd like to do it early. We want you to have all your information. And like any student I say, when you apply, you want your financial aid information and you want to know everything you're getting. And so that's the way our financial aid office works. So once you apply, you'll know what Pell you're getting, and then what other state aid, and then Mass Reconnect comes in, well, okay, what's the balance? And then they come in, and that's how you'll be informed. You're not gonna get a letter from Mass Reconnect, you're not gonna get a letter like that telling you, hey, you've been accepted. You meet the qualifications, get the application in. The earlier you do it, you wanna know that your funding is there even before day one. And personally, that's what I always try to tell students to do. Do it early, so you have all the information. There was somebody who raised their hand over there, yes?
My wife tells me terminology is very important. So I've been through the process with the FAFSA application process. Part of the award, quote unquote award, is being able to get a loan, right? So when you say the last dollar, okay, does the last dollar include application of the loan amount?
Thank you very much. The question was, how does the loan, and I'm gonna just summarize it. What is the loan, how does the loan come in there? Is that part of the last dollar? Actually, the whole point of it, when, again, when they say free community college, that the loan, you shouldn't have to take out a loan. Honestly, that's the whole purpose of it. I have had folks that, for example, because the program was instituted pretty early, it came in August, and that's when a lot of people had already done everything. Had a few students that say, well, hey, I took out a loan. What happens to me? Well, they don't count the loan in there, so a lot of those students got reimbursed. So now, the whole point of it is so you don't have to take out a loan. Now, let's go back to that person that said, well, what if I want a laptop? Well, you could take out a loan to get a laptop because that's not being covered by Mass Reconnect. That would be separate. But to answer your question, no, the whole point of this is so you do not have to take out a loan at all. So again, tuition, fees, supply, and you shouldn't have to take out a loan. Unless, of course, you need to take out a loan for other things that are not covered. Some people take out loans for, like I said, for laptops, some, for example, their community expenses. But again, the whole goal of it is so you do not have to do that. You're welcome. Any other questions? Again, if it comes up while you're here, I'm going to be at a table back there. I'd be more than happy to answer any other questions. Sure. Okay. All right, thank you. Sir?
Is the STEM meeting in this room? On the agenda, it says that the STEM is in the Student Center Lounge, is that this room?
If it says Student Center Lounge, thank you. Yes, it is. It's in here. So when the, whatever time that's, yeah, that would be the 11 o'clock. Would be right here. You don't even have to move. Okay. So any other questions? Last call. Yes. In terms of what? In terms of after you get a degree? I don't have, right? Well, I'm going to say a couple of things. In terms of what I've seen, and I've been in, and this is not a master's question, but I want to answer it. The way the economy has changed, like I said, there are jobs that are out there, and a lot of people come to me and tell me, I can't get that job because I don't have the degree. So to me, this is the key to get in. I personally have not seen that. I actually have seen the opposite. I've seen so many people come in and say, listen, either they're in jobs already, can't get promoted because, again, they don't have the degree. And then I've seen a lot of people that have come back to community colleges just for that, and it's changed their careers. Because I'm going to tell you, I'll look at it the opposite way. When you come back, you've worked, and then now you get the degree, you go to another field. One of the things that employers value is experience. You're not coming in like, I have never worked before, or the only place I worked in areas that don't really giving the skill sets I want. A lot of our adult students are coming in with skill sets already. Again, now I can't guarantee that you're gonna get a job. One of the things is when you have that degree, it opens up many doors in many areas. Now granted, if you go into our professional allied health, those are programs where you're certified and boom, they're looking for those jobs. They'll come to you before you actually get the job. But in terms of what you're looking at your career, I haven't really seen that. The workforce has changed, especially after the pandemic. So many people left. There are a lot of job opportunities there that were not there prior to it. So if you're concerned about that, I mean, again, you want to look at your field, you want to see if it's growing. But I would tell you that there's so many people coming back. I mean, this program would not get the response that it's getting if it weren't opening the doors for people. And I can tell you from why the governor did it, there were a lot of jobs that we need filled, and they're looking at the workforce, and one of the things that, some of the feedback she got was that there are people that want to, but just they can't finish the credentials because, you know, they gotta take care of their kids, they're working 7 jobs, they're doing all of this. This will open the door. I mean, like I said, I jokingly said it, but I meant, where was this program in 1988 when I was a senior? But it's here now, it's here to benefit you, and I really encourage you to take advantage, whether you were here a year ago, 2 years ago, or 20 years ago. I'll just leave it with this. There was a gentleman who came in, and this is very interesting. He came in, I don't want to guess his age, but he definitely was probably a senior, I'm going to say. He was already retired, and he was doing Mass Reconnect. And I sort of asked him, like, what's bringing you back? He said, you know what? I worked for X number of years, 40 some odd years. I always want to get my college degree. And this is his quote, damn it, I'm getting my degree and I'm going to finish it. And he's enrolled in our program. He should be graduating in the spring. So for whatever reason you want to complete the degree, it's here for you. It's going to be free. Take advantage. And with that, I want to thank you all very much for coming to the presentation. Thank you for coming to our open house. Welcome again to Massasoit Community College, and please enjoy the rest of our open house. There's a lot of people out there that are going to be taking your questions. Thank you very much. And if you're looking for the STEM presentation and the health one, it's going to be in here. It should be starting shortly. Thank you.